what's going on? It's good to get back before y'all again. It's me, Monero28 with the Man Cave Uploads, and as you can see, the video playing in the background. This footage comes from a myriad of channels. One is IGN, so I will be giving them credit in the description below. Also, I think the other channel is PlayStation's. It's the official PlayStation account as well, so I'll be giving both of them credit as I am giving them credit now. So go and check out both of those channels. As I said, they will be in the description below. But yeah, man, Resident Evil 8 is getting its Village DLC with Rose, and then you have Resident Evil 4 Remake with its previews and everything. Because game journalists did actually get, I believe, a 20-minute demo, and Capcom originally let them put out the video for it, but then they asked them not to show it because there's a lot of footage that they want us to experience when the game actually releases next year on March 24th. And so yeah, man, I'm definitely excited about this game. I know there have been a lot of decrying of remakes in the industry. I know the most famous one right now is the Horizon for Zero Dawn remake. A 5-year-old game rumored to be getting a remake is quite ridiculous. I'll say, at least with Resident Evil 4 remake, it has been since 2005. So you're talking about right now we're at 17 years since the game came out. Next year would be 18 years since that game came out. And you know, again, January 5th, I believe, of 2005 is when Resident Evil 4 originally came out on the GameCube. And so, as I've said, would I like developers to put more time and effort towards a new IP or a sequel game? Yes, but with Capcom, I think Capcom is finding themselves right now, and I'm not trying to make an excuse. You know, yes, I do want Resident Evil 9. I don't want them to keep on doing remakes. I know a lot of people want a Code Veronica remake after this one. Code Veronica is more of a niche game in the series. Is it important? Yes, because it's Claire and Chris, but it's not the main line. I actually saw someone try to argue that Resident Evil 4 was more of a offshoot series than what Code Veronica was, but it's like, no, Resident Evil 4 directly leads into 5, because the Las Plagas, we hear about it in 4, and then we get to see exactly where it all came from in Resident Evil 5. And so, but not to deviate too much down that track, there is a preview that I'm going to read to y'all from IGN. As I've said, I'm crediting them and PlayStation, the official PlayStation account. And this video says, after the incredible success of Resident Evil 2 Remake in 2019, it was a no-brainer for Capcom to revitalize more of its older games to better suit a modern audience. With every step forward, though, the quality gap between past and present becomes less striking. And now it has finally arrived at the progenitor of the successful over-the-shoulder Resi playstyle. It's hard to imagine how much an all-time classic can be improved beyond a fresh coat of paint. And from what we've played Resident Evil 4, so far Capcom seems less interested in creating a RE2 remake-style gigantic leap. Instead, it appears more laser-focused on making one of the best games of all time even better. And I heard someone say that this was just one of the best Resident Evil games of all time. No, this is one of the best games of all time. We have to realize what Resident Evil 4, how it revolutionized gameplay. Second person was not a thing until Resident Evil 4 came out. We had first person and third person. That was it. Cliff Bleszinski was directly inspired by Resident Evil 4 to make Gears of War. Gears of War spawned a bunch of games in its series, and then a bunch of other games were directly linked to that and inspired by that as well. So it's like, no. It's like Resident Evil 4 is the progenitor of second person gameplay. So again, as I said, it revolutionized. So it's not just one of the best Resident Evil games of all time. No, it's one of the best games of all time. I'm completely biased when I say that, but yeah. It says, during my session, and this is written by Dale Driver. During my session, which began at the very start of the game and concluded just after the villager onslaught, everything felt equal parts incredibly familiar and unsettlingly different. Unsettlingly. The sequence of events was almost identical, but the graphical design and improvements made locations feel noticeably more lived in, claustrophobic, and haunting to explore. Despite my experience with the original, I still found myself nervously tiptoeing around every corner with the anticipation that at any moment something unexpected could happen. Much like in 2002's Resident Evil Remake, elements were strategically organized to subvert my expectations. A highlight in that remake of the original was the early fake-out that preyed on fans' memory of the dog smashing through the window, which doesn't happen when you expect it to. With the Resident Evil 4 remake, I experienced similar twists in my short playthrough, one of which also related to a dog. Fans of the original will finally remember the opening chapter's unfortunate dog trapped in a bear trap and how the game gave you the option to release them. You may also remember his triumphant return if you saved him, and he assists Leon to defeat El Gigante. This time around, though, the dog is still there, but he's already dead. Did I not teach him in time? Did I not reach him in time, or was this a signifier of the noticeable shift towards a darker tone for this remake? Either way, this brief moment laid the groundwork for a game that is not necessarily going the way I expected. Resident Evil 4 does feel incredibly familiar, though, is in its combat. As mentioned previously, with Capcom remaking its classic library based on the ideas pioneered by Resident Evil 4, it was only inevitable that this game would feel the most familiar. Controlling Leon still feels exactly like you'd expect, and he even maintains some of his iconic moves from the original. It was only a matter of seconds before I instinctively began shooting at kneecaps and lining up roundhouse kicks, knocking down anyone in proximity. The muscle memory instantly kicked in, and it all felt extremely satisfying. So the rest of this article can be read on IGN's website, as again the link will be in the description and the credits will be given out. But yeah, man, I'm excited for it. The Rose DLC for Resident Evil 8, it looks good. I do want to jump back into that because I did buy that game, so I will jump back into that DLC. And then even how they're implementing third person in that game too, or second person, allowing you to play like a Resident Evil 2 or even the 4 remake when it launches. It's really cool to get to see how Ethan actually looks like going through these events. All the gruesome stuff that happens to him in that game, knowing exactly what he is and how that all played out was very cool. So I'm definitely excited for what Capcom is doing. As again, do I want new games? Yes, but we did get Resident Evil 8, I believe, last year, so I'm not really complaining. Capcom does have a good track record. I believe 7 came out in 2017, and so then 8 came out 4 years later. So right on track. Even look at God of War 2018. 4 years later, we're getting God of War Ragnarok. So PlayStation is doing an incredible job. With its first party games, and even with some third party partnerships that they have going on out there. So I'm excited. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm gonna cut it off here. Definitely would appreciate likes or even dislikes, comments, anything, any type of interaction you guys do. It lets the algorithm know that you guys like the content, and it pushes it out there to more folks. So thank you all. Talk to y'all soon.